Expo 2024 eyes further agricultural transformation. We also will take a look at the global cyber outage, impact on Tanzania, and way forward.
There's a risk that something like this can happen. And when it happens, it's about how we find solutions to go around that.
Good evening. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Nasa Kingo. Just a reminder, you can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TBC Online, and also get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TBC Online. And we start in Dodoma, where Dodoma Regional Commissioner Rosemary Senyamule urges the residents of the region, especially the farmers, to fully participate in the upcoming Nane Fair that will be held nationally in Dodoma from the beginning of August, so as to learn new technologies that will help them to increase productivity and the product value chain in the agricultural sector, livestock and fishing. Senyamule made the call while briefing on the progress of the preparations for the fair, insisting that the fair will be accompanied by many other events that will be of value to the farmers and other visitors.
Mikoa Dodoma na Singida tumejipanga kuifanya Nane ya mwaka huu.
Dodoma and Singida regions are prepared for this year's Nane, and we are ready to make it exciting. It will be accompanied by various activities, including an investment conference that will take place on the 6th of August. There will also be a conference on youth and women involvement in agriculture, which will take place on the 3rd of August. Various awards will be given to youth and women who have performed well in agriculture.
Furthermore, the regional commissioner reveals that until now, 173 stakeholders have confirmed to participate in the fair from 15 regional councils of Singida, various ministries, non-government organizations, financial institutions, and international stakeholders from Brazil, Italy, Egypt, Kenya, and India. A major IT fault has hit services in the infrastructure around the world, with aviation, banking, healthcare, and financial services among the sectors affected. The cybersecurity company CrowdStrike confirmed that the problem came from a defect in a content update from Windows operating system, resulting in flights being grounded, healthcare services being halted, and online payment systems shut down. How big is the problem? I earlier spoke with Dr. Moses Ismail, IT expert from the College of Information and Communication Technologies, University of Dar es Salaam. And here he starts by explaining how could this affect Tanzania now and in the near future.
Efficiency and productivity. And of course, it's a problem always when you have got IT systems. There's a risk that something like this can happen. And when it happens, it's about how we find solutions to go around that. But we can't say that we have to run away from the internet now because something like this has happened. So problems happen, and when they happen, we have to find solutions to go around those, to tackle those challenges. So it happened, it's a problem, but compared to what would have happened if we go back to the analog age, I think that will be atrocious in the sense that it will be a very big chaotic issue to go back to the analog age just because the internet and the internet-related services got impacted by the IT outage.
Well, one of the issues that I think have really come up this time around is that there are very few providers of the services. They totally have the control of the whole world on their hands. Do you think this is also could be an issue that has to be handled carefully?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is. We talk about Microsoft. That is almost one single company that single-handedly sorts all the software and internet issues globally. Not internet, but the software-related issues, services globally. And when something like this happens to one service provider, we see how huge impact it can cause. We have seen the Microsoft services businesses that have been affected, the digital cloud services that have been impacted. We see a lot of businesses that are using the Microsoft services that has been impacted. To the contrary, we haven't seen much in the companies that are using the Mac software or the Mac operating systems. So these are the only two major operating systems that are available there, the Microsoft and Mac. And in this case, it happened to Microsoft, but it could as well happen to Mac. But you're right in the sense that if you have one dominant company that control almost the services for all businesses, there's a risk that when we have a failure like this, it could be of a very huge consequences, and it proved to be true.
Remaining in Dar es Salaam, statistics show that the trade volume between Tanzania and Comoros has increased from $6.75 million in 2001 to $54 million last year, that is 2023. The two countries are expected to hold permanent joint commission meetings that will involve permanent secretaries and ministries that will culminate with signing of various agreements to facilitate economic development in the two countries. To understand more how the positive bilateral ties between the two countries present a conducive environment for business and trade, we spoke with Ambassador of Tanzania to the United of Comoros, Said Yakubu.
There are a lot of opportunities that Tanzanian businessmen can enjoy. Comoro is an island, and we are a vast land-spaced country, so there is a lot of opportunities. And opportunity number one, I can say, is agricultural produce. Comorians import a lot of their foodstuff from Tanzania, ranging from rice and from other perishables like tomato, onions, potatoes, sugar, and other products, but also non-perishable ones, because it is an island and there's not a lot of industries in Comoro. They are trying to promote now, but in the meantime, Kariakoo is their main source of items. So we do a lot of business with them in the areas I've highlighted. I can give you the data. Last year alone, we exported to Comoro goods worth 148 billion Tanzanian shillings. So I would say agricultural produce is the number one item. Number two is in the recent times, Comoro are promoting infrastructure sector. They are building the port, they are building roads, and a lot of local technicians and building materials find their way in Comoro. I find a lot of Tanzanians have been employed by construction companies because of their technical skills, but also traders of aluminium. So we are here to meet on Monday for senior officials and followed by the ministers, where we are going to discuss different matters of interest between our two countries. And the aim is you cannot choose friends, but you can choose friends, but you cannot choose neighbors. Neighbors are there by default, and we have had a long-standing diplomatic relation, and this meeting aims at promoting the diplomatic relation to a level higher.
Minister of Industry and Trade, Dr. Selemani Jafo, has instructed all institutions under his ministry to use and purchase locally produced equipment so as to support and protect local industries and reduce extra costs. Jafo has given the directive in Dodoma after inspecting the progress of the Tanzania Bureau of Standards TBS construction project, which includes a laboratory and office building, insisting that using local industrial equipment will help finish the construction projects on time.
I instruct all institutions that are under my jurisdiction to not purchase construction material outside Tanzania. As the Minister of Industry and Trade, my job is to protect our local industries. Therefore, if there is a construction of any sort, all the 13 institutions have to purchase the building materials in the country, provided the materials are produced in the country.
On the other hand, the Director of Policy and Planning in the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Trade, Need Peace Wambuya, says as team together with the manager of the Tanzania Bureau of Standards TBS Central Zone Nikonia Mwambuka, they will manage the project and complete it on time.
Zote ambazo tuna uhakika zinazalishwa ndani.
All the institutions under the Ministry of Industry and Trade should be exemplary by purchasing the building materials produced locally. This will protect our industry, our jobs, and it will also reduce the use of foreign currency. By October this year, the construction shall be complete. We shall do everything in power to make sure the building is complete. We shall also construct a laboratory which will serve Dodoma, Singida, Tabora, and Morogoro.
The Tanzania Bureau of Standards laboratory and office building are expected to cost approximately 24 billion shillings. The arrival of the Chinese Peace Ark hospital ship, its second in 7 years, has been received with joy by Tanzanians. Today being the second day among the 8-day humanitarian mission to provide free medical services to local residents. My colleague Kanki Maigomole visited the ship to eyewitness the services provided there and has prepared the following report.
The visiting crew had set to carry out free medical services to 600 people per day, only for the number to exceed to treating more than 1,000 patients per day. As I was walking inside the ship, I got an opportunity to visit some of the wards where some of the patients have been admitted after undergoing diagnosis, to hear from them about the treatment they have received.
I'm here due to optical treatment. The doctors have warmly received me and taken a few tests. So I've been admitted and waiting for an eye operation, which is free of charge.
I have been cared for by doctors and the nurses in the ship, and I have received the services without bias. When I arrived, I was registered and got my health checked. The results have come out and I have been scheduled for surgery.
Treatment such as bottling has been one of the most requested treatments, especially for the relaxation of muscles, treat backaches, and other body pains. And finally, I came across Nazali Elikunda Fadhili, who has delivered a baby boy inside the ship, an incident that has made history in 17 years since the inception of the ship.
I registered. I was brought here to give birth. I consider myself lucky. My son and I are doing very well. I haven't had any complications since my delivery.
While other activities are proceeding at the Dar es Salaam port, some of the medical teams have been set to carry out free clinic and academic exchange activities in local hospitals such as Mwananyamala and Amana hospitals, just to name a few. History has been made for the first time in history. A baby boy was delivered last night by the name of Sakir. It has never happened since the Ark ship started this medical treatment around the world. Treatment still continues, as witnessed by some of the patients that have been admitted here. Reporting directly from the port of Dar es Salaam, where the Ark is here, I'm Kanki Mwagomole, TBC News.
Thank you very much, Kanki Mwagomole, for that report. Deputy Permanent Secretary dealing with Environment, Office of the Vice President, Christina Ndeme, calls on the environmental stakeholders to continue to place adequate emphasis on the issue of clean energy for cooking in the draft of the next National Action Plan on Gender Issues and Climate Change. Ndeme made the call while opening the stakeholders' working session to collect a recommendation on the draft of the National Work Plan on Gender Issues and Climate Change in Dodoma earlier today. She says the effects of the climate change on the economic sectors will affect more women, men, children, the elderly, youth, and the special groups.
In this clean energy project, which was launched in May 2024, the goal is to put a stop the usage of unsafe energy.
It will be remembered that the convention was initiated in 2014 and the 28th session of the Conference of Parties, COP20, held in Lima, Peru. A delegation from the government of the Republic of Indonesia, led by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Pahala Mansuri, called on the business community in Tanzania to take part and take advantage of the opportunity of the Indonesia-Africa Forum to create business networking as both countries benefit economically through commercial and business partnerships. He made the call in Dar es Salaam in the meeting with the Minister of Investment and Planning, Stanislaus Nyongo, which aims at inviting Tanzanians to participate in the forum, which will go hand in hand with the ministers' dialogue from various African countries.
This is actually an important event for us to be able to further strengthen the economic collaboration between Indonesia and Africa, in particular with Tanzania, since Indonesia companies right now already have several investments in Tanzania, particularly in the sector of oil and gas, also potentially in the area of fertilizer production, as well as the crop oil processing. So this is actually several areas that we hope Indonesia can further make investment in Tanzania.
On the other hand, the Deputy Minister says the conference will also discuss various other opportunities available in the agricultural sector, clean energy, as well as industrial sectors.
Na hasa katika masuala ya uwekezaji, tunakaribisha uwekezaji katika sekta mbalimbali.
We have had a productive discussion, especially in investment matters. We are welcome investors in various sectors, so we are grateful for this visit. They have shown good cooperation.
The Indonesia-Africa Forum is due to be held on 1st September to 30 September in Indonesia. A delegation of public servants from the Kingdom of Eswatini, led by the Kingdom's Minister of Public Service, Mabulala Maseko, praises the investment projects implemented by the National Social Security Fund, NSSF, due to its expected return to be able to pay its members for the next 40 years. Minister Maseko expressed the applause in Dar es Salaam after the delegation visited some NSSF projects, including Kigamboni Bridge, insisting that they will emulate NSSF's strategies to ensure that the investment projects bring impact to its members and provide benefits to their retirees.
And so we want to get from our colleagues, how do they do it, so that we can do it even in Eswatini. So we've just witnessed, a big project, and I think they are reaping a lot from it. So we also want to have our own in Eswatini, so that we can boost our pension fund for the benefit of the workers and those who have retired from work. Particularly what we have learned, we are standing right in front of a private partnership miracle that we need to understand how it was funded, and we can see that we can help our government by partnering them in doing certain big projects because we have the funding. More so because of what we have learned, how strong their fund has been, the security fund. It has done tremendously well, and it's one of the best in the region. So we're here to extract the knowledge of how well they've done it.
On the other hand, the Deputy Minister, Prime Minister's Office, Labour, Youth, Employment and Persons with a Disability, Patrobas Katambi, says the delegation's visit targets to learn especially on the development projects, proving that Tanzania's performance in the implementation of investment projects remains exemplary.
First, they are looking on how the good we've managed for so long time to provide good services to the members, and two, how we've been making investment, and at the end we get returns and the profit thereon. And secondly, how the fund itself has managed itself to be sustainable for a long period of time, And as per the estimation and approximation now, NSF can survive for 40 years to come while paying the members.
Here to show them this bridge, how we constructed it, how we cooperated with the government, because this was done in collaboration with the government through the Ministry of Works. They are happy, and we are also taking them to another project at Kigamboni later during the day. But others, we have also promised them to continue touch basing with them in terms of getting experience, not only from us, but we can also share whatever they are doing from that part of their country.
Before we wind up our local news tonight, let us now have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Don't miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. When we return, it'll be time for sports news. Tanzania international athlete Alphonse Simbu says he's ready to fight for the medal in the Summer Olympic Games that kick off in Paris, France next week. Simbu insists that the Tanzania athlete team and himself have strategies set to end the long-time drought of the Olympic medal in Paris showdown.
My target is to bring the Olympic medal here in Tanzania with all my strength. I'm sure in this Olympic, Tanzania will be proud of me.
Ya Olympic mwaka huu moyoni mwangu ninaiona.
The Tanzania athletes team is ready to defend the national flag in the Olympic Games and create a new history. And that's the sports news. Now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours.
Hey dear viewers, and welcome for the next 24 weather forecast from the Meteorological Authority. My name is Rebecca William. Starting with wind patterns, wind is expected to flow at the speed of 20 km per hour for Lake Nyasa and at the speed of 30 km per hour for Lake Victoria, Lake Tanganyika, as well as for the entire coast. And the state of the sea is expected to be moderate. And for tonight, we expect mild dry condition and cool temperatures over most part of the country, with lowest minimum temperature of 6 at Mbeya region, followed by Njombe with 7 degrees Celsius. And for tomorrow, we expect partly cloud condition and some periods over most part of the country. Let us see the next 4 days forecast from different cities and regions. Dar es Salaam, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 20. Dodoma, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 15. Mbeya, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 7. Mwanza, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 18. Kilimanjaro, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 16. Morogoro, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 16. Arusha, sun period is expected and minimum temperature is 14. From Tanzania Meteorological Authority, thank you and have a good night.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in case we're here at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I'm Nasa Kingo. We wish you a good night and a beautiful weekend.
Unaangalia TBC1, ukweli na